your manager is probably the single most important person in the realm of your promotion. So it's really important that you have a good relationship with them. So yeah, as mentioned before, a lot of like more junior folks just assume that there's this magical all-knowing system that like automatically knows what everyone is doing and then assigns essentially rewards fairly at the end of the half. That is not true. And your manager is going to almost certainly not going to know exactly what you're doing unless you put in a good amount of effort to stay in sync with them in terms of like your wins and what you're doing. And this is like particularly the case in the companies that people want to work for, like either these really big tech companies or these like really fast growing startups. Like these companies are the strongest companies because they move so fast. So it's really easy to get lost in that chaos. And the manager, something that's important to remember is that your manager is probably also trying to grow as well. They're also trying to get promoted as well. And generally how managers expand their scope is they just manage more people, or they like manage other managers, which essentially indirectly has them managing more people. So with both of these factors in mind, like your manager having a bunch of reports and the company that you work for moving really fast, it's really easy for your manager to lose track of what you're doing. So like what I do in pretty much every one-on-one that I have a weekly one-on-one with my manager at Robinhood. I essentially just like have a list of my wins, just to let them know like what I'm doing. And this is going to be really helpful when performance reviews season comes around because I can just go through the one-on-one notes I have my manager and just like I can see like all my wins because I can just go through the meeting notes and then just pluck out the ones I think are good. And as mentioned before, your performance review result should not be a surprise. You should not be going into the performance review at the end of the year or the end of the half going like, oh man, I did great work, this cycle, but I don't know. You never know. Just cross your fingers and hope for the best. That should not be how you're thinking about performance review. You should have a pretty good idea of what rating you're going to get, maybe plus or minus like zero point 0.5 or 1 rating band, because you should regularly be in sync with your manager about how you're trending. So like don't be afraid to ask like, okay, manager, I'm trying to target this performance review rating by the end of the half. How am I doing? Am I on a good pace where if I continue improving at this rate, I'll get it? Or am I like falling behind? And your manager shouldn't be afraid to tell you that. As as Rahul mentioned before, one-on-ones should be awkward. It's their job to give you this information because the more transparent you are in these important relationships, the higher the chances of this relationship succeeding, and the easier it is for you to grow. I think one of the easiest ways for people to not perform is just lack of transparency and lack of information. So you definitely want to avoid that. And as mentioned before, it's just feedback is a gift. Your manager is probably the most important person to get feedback from. So yeah, you should ask for feedback regularly. Maybe not every one-on-one meeting, if you're having it weekly, that could be overkill, but I would say at least once a month just ask like, hey, what am I doing well, what can I be doing better,